Your smile deserves the best, and the best is at Midtown Dentistry. Founder and lead specialist Dr. Jonathan Penchas is the dentist other Houston dentists turn to when they want to learn the latest procedures.
One of the best ways to ensure optimal dental health is through routine visits with your dental professional. My name is Lon. I'm a registered dental hygienist, and I would like to give you a few tips on how you can maintain good oral hygiene at home. Seeing your dental professional for routine visits and dental cleanings every 6 months is important. However, it is vital to maintain your routine rinsing, flossing, and brushing at home. Your daily dental hygiene care at home should include using an antibacterial mouth rinse, flossing, and brushing at least twice daily. Using an antibacterial mouth rinse will help reduce the number of bacteria in your mouth that causes gum disease. Flossing before you brush will not only help remove any food debris from between your teeth, but more importantly, to remove the bacteria living below your gums that causes gum disease. Brushing should be done last using a toothpaste containing a sufficient amount of fluoride to help prevent tooth decay. Following this 3-step regimen twice daily will help you maintain good oral health, because don't forget that good oral health affects your overall health. Call your dental professional today if you have any concerns about your dental health.
Eliminating the hassle, increasing the expectation. There's so much to smile about at Midtown Dentistry.
Remove any food debris from between your teeth, but more importantly, to remove the bacteria living below your gums that causes gum disease. Brushing should be done last using a toothpaste containing a sufficient amount of fluoride to help prevent tooth decay. Following this 3-step regimen twice daily will help you maintain good oral health, because don't forget that good oral health affects your overall health. Call your dental professional today if you have any concerns about your dental health. They're always ready to provide you a program that will